The ultimatum, the Sultan felt bitter and left immediately. After the deadlock in the final negotiation in Kuala Lumpur, Tunku Abdul Rahman then gave a grace period of 48-hour deadline to the Brunei government, to consider whether they wanted to join the Federation of Malaysia. He then left Kuala Lumpur for Kedah. When the Sultan was told about this, he immediately ordered the Brunei delegation to return home without waiting for the 48-hour deadline. On June 19, the Sultan and his entourage flew home to Brunei in a British Royal Air Force plane. The Sultan returned to Brunei immediately after the Tunku made an embarrassing remark in reply to the Sultan's suggestion that Brunei would enter Malaysia on the basis of a loose federation. The Tunku replied by saying that it was better for Brunei not to join Malaysia. Pehin Orang Kaya Digadong Haji Abdul Rahman, who also attended the meeting in Kuala Lumpur, said that the Sultan was very angry with the Tunku's statement, that if Brunei wanted to join on the basis of a loose federation, which Pehin termed co-federation, then it would be better for Brunei not to join. The Sultan felt bitter and left immediately, and said that in future he would not come to Kuala Lumpur just to discuss Brunei's conditions for joining Malaysia. This gave every indication that the Sultan had already made up his mind not to join Malaysia. At Kuala Lumpur International Airport, the Sultan was sought out by Malayan cabinet members led by Tun Abdul Razak. Having consulted his cabinet about the unresolved matters, Tun Razak asked the Sultan's permission to present a letter to the Brunei delegation. The Sultan, however, refused to accept it. Apparently, the letter was then sent to Brunei by post on June 21, 1963. It contained an ultimatum from the Federation government which can be summarized as follows. A. The Brunei government was to pay annual tax to the Malayan government on any new sources of revenue from oil fields discovered after the first 5 years of the initial period of membership of Malaysia. B. The Malayan government agreed to review Brunei's annual contribution, provided that Brunei accepted A. above. C. In the event of Brunei's default in paying the annual contribution of $40 million at any time during the first 10 years, Articles 109 and 110 of the Constitution would apply, for example. Full federal powers over taxation, but Brunei could opt to retain a special concession on oil provided that such retention was agreed by the federal government. D. The Malayan government proposed that the special financial arrangements would be reviewed after 10 years. In default of agreement, then the existing arrangements would be continued. This proposal was made subject to acceptance of the proposal made in A. above regarding new sources of revenue including oil fields which may arise at any time after the first 5 years of the initial 10-year period had lapsed. E. The Malayan government was not prepared to agree that mines and minerals other than oil in Brunei should be exempted from federal taxation, but would give an undertaking that any taxing powers vested in federal government in respect of mines and minerals and of profits to be derived from working thereof will not be used to prevent proper exploitation of Brunei's resources in this sector of the economy, and F. The Malayan government proposed that the sum of $40 million should be described in English as an annual contribution and that in the Malay version this should be translated precisely.